And now you got your man Dark Knight and BG. Who better to talk about Eagles football than us on the State of the Eagles? It's the most wonderful time of the year. Training camp starts Tuesday. Tonight we have special guest Marcus. Marcus Thomas, former D tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's get it.
Let's go.
How is everybody doing today? Welcome to another show of State of the Eagles with your boy BG31 and the Dark Knight in the building. How you doing today, my guy?
I'm great, man, on this holiday week.
Yes, sir. We back. How y'all doing today? We are back. BIRDGANG 31, Dark Knight, State of the Eagles, episode 9. Episode 9. We're riding this wave here. It's been a great journey. Salute to all you guys for stopping by. Hit that like wherever you're at. You know, we're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're everywhere. Bring you the best Eagles content we could possibly bring you. We got a very special guest in the building today. We got Marcus Thomas from the Philadelphia Eagles. Pro Fan Talk podcast is what he does, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. I get one correction. I am a running back. I'm not a defensive tackle. I know I'm getting fat, but I'm not getting that fat.
My
but
apologies.
It's all good. I appreciate you guys having me on. So it's all good, man. Let's talk about the Birds. We are there. We are already there. Training camp is here. A lot of excitement. I'm so excited to get past that part of summer where people don't know what to talk about, so they just be making stuff up. And everything is. I don't want to hear nothing else about OTAs. I don't want to hear nothing else about Jalen Hurts throwing dimes at OTAs. That stuff don't matter, man. This is where the real work comes in, and this is the stuff that matters.
I agree. It's the most wonderful time of the year. The team is reporting the training camp on Tuesday. They'll be on the field on Wednesday. So now, yeah, we can stop with all the filler stories and making up things to talk about now. Now we can get into the meat of this team and our optimism for this upcoming season. We finally have some meat on the bones to talk about in about 3 days. So I'm with you. Let's get into talking about real football. We've been waiting for this with all the off-season moves that Howie the Wizard has made. This team seems poised, I think, to make a tremendous or a legitimate run back to where they ended the season from last year. So, I've already dubbed this unfinished business this season here, and this will be the start of that campaign starting on Tuesday. I'm with you, Marcus. Excuse me for messing up the position in the opening. I'm so sorry for that, but you're right. So in opening this, right, and then going into training camp, I'll ask you what's a position battle, right, that you are most looking forward to in this upcoming training camp?
It's weird. I don't even know how do they battle in today's NFL. I like to use the term. When I played, we had two a days. Now they have new a days because they don't hit,
Right.
they don't bang like we used to bang. So it seems like most of what goes on in camp is more mental rep to see where people fit and see how quickly people can get the offense and get accustomed to it and learn what they need to learn. So the couple of positions that I will be looking for, obviously, me being a running back, I'm gonna be looking at the running backs. It is my opinion that Gainwell should be running back one, although I believe it'll probably end up being Swift. And the reason I say Gainwell is because number one, Gainwell is the only running back we have that is not coming off an injury. And Gainwell was productive. And if you go all the way back from when Gainwell was at Memphis, they could not get that kid off the field. When you get that boy an opportunity to run the ball, he shows up. So whether or not they'll do it, I have no idea. I think it seems like the optics of it is that they're leaning more towards Swift, and I understand that. But if it was me, Gainwell would get the start because at the end of the day, I don't think they're going to Eagles don't have bell cow running backs. They're not giving a running back 20 and 25 carries. That's not going to happen. And the other position, I don't think there's going to be a battle, but I want to see what the linebackers are looking like because my dark horse player to watch is Christian Ellis. I already know I'm already excited about Nakobe Dean. I believe Nakobe Dean is that dude. I believe this year Nakobe Dean is going to make Philadelphia fans even more angry with Jonathan Gannon because we're going to be looking like, why didn't you play him more last year? You know what I'm saying? So Nakobe Dean's going to be ready, but Christian Ellis is my dark horse for some reason. That kid is a baller, and I think this year he's going to have his opportunity to shine. So, we know what we got on the D tackle. I don't think there's going to be too many battles there, so to speak, but I am interested to see what they're going to do with the big man in the middle, Jordan Davis.
Right.
Now that he's dropped 30 pounds. Now you can play him versus the run and versus the pass, and he doesn't have to come out to take a breather because now he's slimmed down. He's coming off the ball quicker. So I want to see how all of that manifests during the season. So I think our secondary is fine. I think our secondary is even better now that we got rid of CJGJ. We've got young depth. I'm a fan of Reed Blankenship. That kid should not have been as good as he was last year. Should not have been, but he was. He stepped in. What he may lack in speed, he makes up in cerebral play. He's a smart kid, not afraid to get physical. Plus, we got Sidney Brown. Plus, we got Avonte Maddox coming back. A lot of people forget how strong and how important he was. So I think we're covered on the defense. We already know what we got on offense. Jalen Hurts is going to do what Jalen Hurts does. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. We got a quadruple threat on offense. So the biggest X factors right now, as a fan, I'm looking at what Brian Johnson is going to do and what Sean Desai is going to do. Those are really the big things that we don't know because we got two offensive coordinators. I think Brian Johnson is in a better seat because he's been in the organization, so he knows the lay of the land. Plus, cannot discount the type of relationship that Brian Johnson has with Jalen Hurts. That means a lot at that level. They know each other. You talking about, unspoken communication and all of that kind of stuff. Sean Desai's the X factor. He's the new kid on the block. So he's got to win over the locker room. He's got to learn the personalities. He's got to do all of that other kind of stuff and make it gel together. And he's calling the shot. So we shall see.
Wow, you just unfolded a lot. We have to take
this the whole show
step by step. I mean, he gave, a lot to chew on. So let's take this in small bites. Let's take it in small bites. So first, we asked him about the position battle, and it was kind of a hot take, but I'm in kind of agreement with the Kenny Gainwell statement. He said that he feel that Kenny Gainwell should be running back number one. I have been stating this offseason that we will see Kenny Gainwell featured a lot more, especially the way he ended the season last year with the packages that they revealed. Revealed in the playoffs with him. He was more prominent in the playoffs. We hadn't seen Kenny Gainwell packages like that until later in the season and more exclusively in the playoffs. So that's not far-fetched for me, and I'm kind of in agreement. But I do also agree that it will probably be Swift. It'll probably be Swift. But I'm thinking that we're going to see more Kenny Gainwell packages. He was dynamic during that playoff run, and he should, and he deserves. He is a dynamic running back who not only can run the ball, but he can catch the ball very well. So that is it's kind of a big take, but not kind of a big take. So that was the first thing. What do you think about that, BG?
Man, the Kenny Gainwell thing, y'all know how I feel about Kenny. I love him. But if you really look at Kenny, right, Kenny comes in he has the most prime opportunity of any running back in the NFL. Last year we had Miles Sanders, 1,300 yards. He came in third, fourth quarter, really did his thing in those things. In the playoffs, he came and did his thing there. He's done that consistently for the last 2 years. So that gives me hope and knowing the fact that this is a capable running back. But at the end of the day, I think we all know Kenny's not a starting running back. At the end, he's a little bit smaller than you like, and I'm not hating on Kenny at all. I think he definitely earns reps for sure. But in terms of starter, we gotta go with Swift. We gotta, lead the troops with Swift, and hopefully, I think Kenny can win RB2 over Penny. Is my thing. I think he can win at RB2 and get the second bulk of carries, like Miles Sanders last year. He had the bulk of carries. He still has a little bit of Boston Scott. He still had a little bit of Gainwell. He still had a little bit of everybody else, but he definitely got the bulk of the carries, and I think that's what's going to happen with Swift. Swift being from Philly, coming back home to do his thing, I don't really think he's going to get hurt this year, man. Philly has a thing about keeping players healthy over the last couple of years, and I think Swift coming here, he's going to stay healthy with it. And it's at the end of the day, this whole team runs off of talent. Everybody can be that much better every single time they step on that football field because of the talent around them. The talent around them is ridiculous. And we're going to do some big things this year. So I'm saying Kenny, RB2, you got to give it to Swift. Let him do his thing. He can catch, he can run, and that kind of takes away from Kenny's game because he was kind of our receiving back. You know what I'm saying? He was, that guy for us on our team. So now that Swift can do both, it's going to be interesting to see how they use him in this upcoming season.
Well, I don't think that we'll have a problem with the injury. Like Marcus said, they don't get touched in the preseason. So they'll be, bubble wrapped in the preseason, and nobody will be touched in the preseason. And this is the way of the NFL now. And the Eagles have laid the blueprint. Many teams, it's a copycat league, so a lot of teams will probably be adapting some sort of variation of what the Eagles are doing, which is not playing anyone in the preseason. I think it sucks because, now we have to wait for the regular season just to see our starters. And because of that, I've been saying also that it makes that first month of the season like training camp. It's like an extended training camp because now these guys have to play full games that they haven't played in the preseason. So to me, like the first 4 weeks of the season is like an extended training camp. But that formula has allowed the Eagles to have one of the healthiest seasons in a long time that they had last year. So we're not getting away from that. So in that regard, maybe Swift and Penny won't be the injury-prone running backs that they've been prior to them coming to the Eagles. What do you think about that, Marcus?
I think you're correct, and like I said before, I would prefer Kenny Gainwell to get the nod just because he's been here and he's earned it. But BG, I think you're 100% right. I think they will go with Swift. The fact that it seems like we will probably have the three-headed monster in the backfield, which leans more to your opinion that the injury bug might not hit as hard in the backfield. But that remains to be seen. That's the one thing that any team has to deal with. I don't care how good you are. Every team is one play away from glory or ruin based on an injury. So it is what it is. The one thing I wish we could do with our running backs now, and it seems silly that we don't. So hopefully Brian Johnson will bring this back. We get 2 fire running backs that we can run screens from. We have got to get our screen back. We got to go back and pull tape from Big Red and back in them days and get this screen game going again, because there's no reason that we should have we should not be running screen passes with our running backs. We should see a lot of 22 this year, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs. If you could have Swift and Gainwell on the field at the same time, that's a mismatch waiting to happen. Right now, we've got the roster where we can win every chess match, because there's not going to be, unless you got somebody, when you're dealing with somebody like Micah Parsons or somebody like that, when you're dealing with a linebacker with that type of speed, then you might have something, but we still have the advantage because they don't know what we're going to do. But let Kenny Gainwell or Swift go up against Van Der Esch or some of these other linebackers. These linebackers are good, but they're not that fast. So that always gives us an advantage. And when you got players like we have in the backfield, we got to use them. I'm of the belief this year that it is both of these things can be true. Jalen Hurts can have more passing attempts, and the running backs can have more rushing attempts. We need to get rid of the RPO just a little bit. Cut it in half. Let the guys run the ball that we pay them to run the ball. Keep your franchise player out of harm's way. I believe that might be a big factor this year. Yes, we still going to do the RPO because that's what we do best, but teams had a whole offseason to get prepared for that. And rest assured, and I've said this before, all these teams are going to go back and look at 2022 and look at that game that we played against the Texans. And I always forget this dude's name. He was the linebacker for the Texans, outside linebacker, number 55. He put on a clinic on how to slow down the RPO. And best believe teams are looking at that, and they're going to try to figure out a way to stop Jalen Hurts from running all over him. But Jalen Hurts has proved that he can beat you over the top. So we got to take advantage of that.
See, my thing with that is, I think it's so simple, and you might get a game here, you might get a game there, but the simplicity of the offense, that RPO game, is what kills the league. It's what kills them. Jalen being not only a dual threat, but a triple threat. You know, Jalen's probably one of the smartest guys to ever do this dual threat thing ever. You know, he's number one and inside the pocket, passing, deep ball passing, big plays, running in, throwing the football. Like, this guy understands the simple offense you give me. The talent, like I said before, is what makes that happen. You know, when you got 2 all, you know, I give both of those guys all pro nods. They're not all pro yet, but AJ, Devontae, both pro bowlers. You know what I'm saying? Both ballers, both number 1 receivers in the league. Dallas Goedert, one of the best tight ends in the football right now. You know, the running game will come along, whether it's Swift, Gainwell, whoever we want to put there. The offensive line sets up perfectly for that. They're gonna do their thing. You know, that's one thing I did look at Shady's. I'm not Shady's, Booby's little rant he went on last year
Yeah.
when he like tore up the league for 1,300 yards. A lot of those yards, he was wide open. Like the line open holes the size of, you know what I'm saying? Like Moses splitting the Red Sea. And he was open on a lot of those runs. I think any running back really in the NFL should be able to handle that business. So, this offense definitely not lack of talent.
Yeah, but
But
if
the simplicity of the offense is what gets them. That RPO thing is something that we need to just keep doing. No one's going
here's
to
the
ever stop it consistently, is what I
they don't
say.
have to stop it. They don't have
It,
to stop it. Here's the problem with that. The RPO is on the quarterback to make the read, correct? So what he's
Mhm.
going to do is he's going to shove that ball in the gullet of the running back, and he's going to read that defensive end. You know what you tell the defensive end to stop the RPO? You hit the quarterback every time. Doesn't matter if he hands it off to the quarterback, to the running back. Hit the quarterback every time. You do not want your quarterback taking those hits. Period. If he gives the ball to the running back, he still gets hit. If he keeps it, he's still going to get hit unless he gets out of bounds. And then we have that whole situation like Chicago all over again. All it takes is one hit. That's it. So that's my fear is that they'll figure out that give the ball to the running back. But if you show the RPO, I am going to hit Jalen Hurts. Put a hat on him. That's the best way a defense can
Jalen
defend
don't
that.
get
Take it
hurt.
away.
Jalen don't get hit like that, though. Like, he never does. Like, even that game, he didn't get hit running the football. He got hit inside the pocket that game. You know what I'm saying?
No, he
Like,
got he got the Chicago game. He got hurt on a tackle. The
the
dude fell
quarterback
on him
sneak.
and put
You know
all
about
his
the
weight on him
quarterback
because
sneak?
he's a running back. When he goes
Yeah.
after RPO, the minute you cross that line, the minute you take that ball out and you take off, you are a running back. And when you distribute the RPO or when you show in the RPO as a defender, I'm going to lay a hat on the quarterback. If he gives it up to the running back, so be it. But your QB still took that shot.
But we're
That's
not
what you
running
don't
an
want to happen.
RPO with just, the running attack. You got to worry about Jalen running the ball. You got to worry about
Mhm.
Swift getting the handoff. It's the passing that really kills them. It's the passing part of that RPO that kills them. Having a Devontae Smith, having an AJ Brown, having a Dallas Goddard out there always open where Jalen can just pull it and throw. You can't hit him if you don't pass the line of scrimmage.
Then,
And I
then
think,
now you talking about true play action. That's the difference.
but it's part of the RPO system.
Correct. But the RPOs that we're talking about, when Jalen was running all over everybody, sticking that ball in there, and then making the defensive end make a decision. That's the thing. The RPO, read pass option. Read is first. Jalen's job is to read. What is that defense? If he dives down and takes the running back, he pulls it and he can either run it or he can pass it. So he's got two more options. The way you take that away is if you hit the quarterback, the only thing he can do is give up the ball. If the run game takes off, then maybe the defense makes adjustments. But no team, and I mean no team, wants their quarterback taking hits.
I kind of agree. And to bring up a point from a past guest, OG Wade made this
OG.
statement. OG made this. It may be a matter of less is more if you reduce the number of RPO plays that you call, because OG Wade made the point that the RPO kind of kills the screen game to the running backs because it slows down the D ends from coming in. And that's what you want on the screen pass. You want to bait them in, right? So to run less RPOs, you take away that hesitation from the defensive end, and you have a better chance in inviting them in and then setting up the screen behind them. So in that case, it may be more addition by subtraction, so to speak, and it would save the wear and tear on Jalen's body, because I'm with you, Marcus. All of the defensive coordinators have had a whole off season to study the game film of the Eagles, and you better believe there's going to be some adjustments made in this upcoming season. Now, I agree that we have a very talented offense, but this is where we'll see the offensive genius of our offensive brain trust here, because they're going to have to make the necessary adjustments. I mean, it's great to continue to run exactly what worked last year, but know that these defensive coordinators are being paid millions of dollars to figure that out. They're not going to allow this to be to continue to happen without some
They
type
don't have
of
a
adjustment.
choice, is what I'm saying, Dark. They don't have a choice. There's no option here. We're not like the 5th, 10th best team in the league. We're the best team in the football right now. You can argue Kansas City if you want to. And I don't. You already know my take on that. You can argue Kansas City if you want to. We're the best team in football right now. They don't have a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, the talent is there. We're going to do our thing regardless of what you study. They studied Jalen the first year he started. They studied Jalen the second year he started. You see the difference. And then the third, like, this guy is the truth, for real. And he simplified the triple option. That's what he did in his own head. He don't have to choose any of them. He's not a Lamar Jackson where you gotta really worry about your legs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you do. Okay? He's not none of those guys. He's not a Patty Mahomes where you gotta rely on your arm. He can do whatever he wants. He can throw the ball good. He can run the ball good. He can do whichever way you need him to slice it. And it is going to be on, Brad Johnson to make sure that he doesn't only do what we did last year, but he brings another wrinkle. And I like what you said earlier about the whole screen game. That is one thing the Eagles offense has definitely been lacking, is that screen game. We need to get back in there. We got Swift this year. He one of the best receiving backs in the league. You got to give him the ball. So we're going to see where they take that to. But Marcus, you being a running back, man. I played running back. I didn't made it to the Eagles or nothing like that. I ain't made it to, the NFL, big baller. But I did make semi-pro playing some football. How do you feel? How do you feel about this room, man, as a whole? You know what I'm saying? Like, not just one player, just like as a group, because it's going to take a stable this year. We don't, even Swift being as good as he is, I'm not even saying Swift. I think he can have career numbers because people come to Philadelphia and have career numbers. AJ came here, career numbers. Devontae's breaking records every year. You know what I'm saying? Like, the talented players do have career numbers over here because our totality of our offense. But what do you really think about, like, this room?
It all in today's NFL. Like, I'm old school again. I come from when I was in college, I was touching the ball 25, 30 times a game. I played with Heath Sherman, Herschel Walker. They were getting the ball 12, 15, 20 times a game. That was that era of the NFL at that point. Emmitt Smith. Then we had Ricky Waters come through, and guys of that ilk. They were used to being the bell cow backs. Now, if you're not 6 foot 240 like King Henry, they really don't do that. And even, the whole other conversation with what they're doing with the running back contracts and stuff like that, all of that stuff gets lumped together because you look at somebody like King Henry, you look at Josh Jacobs, you look at Austin Eckler, you look at Pacheco in Kansas City. It's not necessarily about rushes, it's about touches. So, which kind of falls back into the whole screen game conversation. You take your best running back, you put him in a position where he can be a mismatch. Put him on an outside linebacker. Outside linebackers have gotten smaller. They've evolved. Every skill position on defense and an offense has morphed into a hybrid. If you want to go back, now you can understand why Debo didn't want to be labeled a running back. It all comes back to money, but everybody's a hybrid. So if they were going to, if everybody was healthy, Rashad Penny is the banger. Don't get it twisted. Rashad Penny runs hard.
Yeah.
So it all depends on what Brian Johnson wants to do with the pieces he has on the board. And not for nothing, one thing people don't talk about, we got arguably the best stable of tight ends in the league too.
Yeah.
We got Dallas Goedert. Cap Katera is no joke. Stoll is no joke. And all of them are 6'5" and above, can run and can catch. Goddard being the best of the three. So that's just another piece on the chessboard that we got to use. And everybody complements each other if you run the offense right. So, but to your original question, as far as running backs, I think it's going to end up being running back by committee, I think, unless Brian Johnson
But
shows
which
me.
running back could be? Are you talking like a Corey Buckhalter, Deuce Daly type, where they all kind of got equal shares? You know what I'm saying? They're
Yeah,
all their own mini stars. Or are you talking about running back by committee like last year
it
with
it
Shady?
depends on
I mean,
what
with
Brian
Booty.
Johnson wants to do. Does he have a favorite player or does he have a favorite package? That
Mm-hmm.
makes all the difference because you might have one package, Swift might not be in there. It might be for Kenny Gainwell. There's another package that might be for Swift and Penny. It all depends on how that manifests itself, and that's what we haven't seen yet. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the big X factor. It's hard to even give an answer because I don't know how Brian Johnson thinks yet. I haven't seen him in action. So I what I like to do is when the season comes through,
What's your gut tell
I
you
don't
about Brian though? What's your
say
gut tell?
again.
For me, what does your gut tell you about Brian though? Because
Brian
for me,
Johnson, I think Brian
if
Johnson is
you've
going to be
been with
good.
him
He's
since
ahead of
he
the
was like
curve.
13 years old, like if you've been with
Yeah,
someone that long, you've seen all his best high school plays, you've seen all his best college plays, you've seen all his best pro plays. You know, you mix that together, and you already like getting in position. You probably already had like 5, 6 plays that you want to run. You know, so you came in
yeah.
there like, okay, we're gonna run this. We're gonna run this right here. So
You still have to. You make 100% perfect sense. The problem is that doesn't always translate to what you're going to do with the NFL
mhm.
because nobody on that team now knows what to do with Jalen Hurts better than Brian Johnson. However, whatever his relationship was when they were in high school and when Brian Johnson played for Jalen Hurts' father and all of that kind of stuff, Jalen Hurts wasn't worth 280 million or whatever his contract is now. So that takes a whole nother aspect of the game that he has to think about. He still has to protect the franchise player. Business is business and friends are friends. Don't confuse the two. And this is business. You got to
Mhm.
keep that man on the field. So, and even if you look at last year, the way we run that offense, why would you want to change it? It worked. Could nobody stop it? However, you do have to make some alterations. And in my opinion, one of those alterations is you got to cut those RPOs down, cut them in half, just to keep your quarterback out of harm's way because he has proven he can beat you over the top, and we got the running back room to beat you on the ground, and we still got the best offensive line in the league. That's all you need.
All
Listen,
right,
listen.
I
Wait, I'm
agree
gonna
with
let you
that.
go. Hold on, Darnay. I'm gonna let you go. Chico. I'm gonna ask you this first, though. What side are you really on? You know, these quarterbacks get these huge contracts, right? 255 million for Jalen, right? Are you guys really on the side of protect as opposed to you're paying this guy to do what he do at the end of the day? I don't care about we gave him 255 million. I want to see Jalen do what he did last year, but better. You know, as a fan, straight up. Better than what you did last year. No protection. This is football, my guy. You play football. We all probably play football. We understand what the game is. This is football. I'm never on side of protecting players because we gave them a contract. I think that's playing scared. But I want to know both of you guys' opinion. How do you guys really feel about that whole situation? And, you know, which way would you guys lean if you guys were in charge?
Well, I think that we have to. It's an investment. Also, this is a business. Also, I like the fact that Jalen is so talented that he can run the RPOs and he is dynamic in that. And I don't want to stifle his athletic ability or his God-given ability. Let's put it that way: his God-given ability, because that's a part of why we're paying him all that money because of what he can do. But when you start paying a player that amount of money, you do have to think of the business aspect of it. A lot of that money is guaranteed. So you want to see that Ferrari on the road more than you want to see it in the garage, right? So you're not going to take unnecessary risks with the Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? You want that, and you know that there's an opportunity for that Ferrari to crash every now and again, but you're not going to do the stupid things to put it at risk more often than not. You know what I mean? So I just want them to be smart. I want them to take advantage of what he does best. But if we have the talent, if we have the running back talent and the wide receiver talent, it would just be smarter to kind of lean on that a little bit more than Jalen's legs when we have players that we are paying to actually run the ball and take those car crash collisions every time they touch the ball, than to have our quarterback do that. So I just like them to deploy Jalen in a sensible way, And now but to get back to talking about Brian Johnson, and I've been saying this all off season, one of my biggest question marks is not that he's not familiar with the offense. I know he is. He's been there a long time. He's familiar with Jalen. He's been working with Jalen a long time. But I just don't know what his play calling is going to be like. And we all know that is very, very key. You can have the same offense, and depending upon who is calling those plays, the offense can look like night and day. We've seen it. We've seen this is Sirianni's offense. We've seen him call those plays, and it didn't look anything like when Steichen called those plays last year. So I have a question on how is Brian Johnson going to deploy this offense? What is his play calling going to look like? Because I would hate for it to revert back to what we saw when Sirianni was calling it. I want it to be more along the lines of when Steichen was calling the plays last year. And I just don't know until we see it. I just don't know. So that's a question mark for me. But Marcus, you answered the question on whether Jalen Hurts, how do you want to see Jalen Hurts deployed?
I just want to see him be smart. Last year, and I believe this year, the most dominant team on our team is still the offensive line, period. We have arguably the best offensive line in football. Top three at worst. Top three at worst.
We're the best.
Right? So guess what? Let them dogs run, and you can check any team. You can look at tapes. You can look at my boy Baldy, Barrett Brooks, all them guys. They will all tell you the same thing. The best way to get an offensive going is to run the ball. That's how you get your offensive line going. That's how you get your offense going. Run the ball first. Everything else comes off of that. Because you can run the ball, set up your play action, and use the play action to set up the RPO. You just got to do it and be smart about it. And last year, for whatever reason, Steichen got pass drunk. And we had all of these situations where I know it was a couple games that Miles Sanders didn't touch the ball until the second half. There was a couple games where he had 2 carries in the first half. Mm-hmm. That made no sense. And also, as good as Steichen was, we always had those games where it seemed like we got some momentum going, and all of a sudden we lose our way and we call in, trips left and trips right, wide receiver screen. And everybody and their mama knew was running that same play. And for some reason, it seemed like they didn't know what to do, or just something happened, because that play would always come up and everybody knew what was coming. Mm-hmm. So I want to see him just be smart. If they establish that line of scrimmage and our offensive line, Lane Johnson and the boys, is just wrecking shop, run that ball down their throat. If Jalen Hurts doesn't throw 10 passes, I'm good with that. If we still winning by 3 and 4 touchdowns, I can live with that. Jalen Hurts is going to have his opportunity to go over the top. A.J. Brown is going to have the opportunity to do his thing. Devontae Smith in Dallas, them boys are going to have an opportunity to ball. But if we are running the ball down their throat, you always have to you always should start there.
But if you look at that, right, who's been the number one runner? Now, I know you say Booby last year, but it's really Jalen sets the tone. To be honest with you, Jalen's that type of quarterback. He has to get hit a couple times running that football before he lights it up passing. I watched his games. He's that type of quarterback. He needs to be physically involved in the football game before he actually excels to the level that we like to see him play. Straight up. And a lot of good football players are that way. You think of some of the greats, they got to get hit a couple times. They got to get rocked a couple times. And then that's where you see the star power come out. And Jalen's that dude, man. Like, Jalen is part of our running game. So when you talk about that running game, you are literally implementing Jalen Hurts into that situation because he is that good. Jalen has some of the best runs over the whole season over his last 2 years playing football. You look at some of the best runs that were in the whole season. Jalen got like 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, whatever you want to give them. But I think Jalen, he's that guy. He's never going to come out throwing the ball 40 times a game, just lighting it up. all throws. You gotta get him involved in that running game first before he executes at a high level. That's what I've noticed this whole time being with the Eagles. It's like the games that we went pass heavy early, he sucked. And I'm not saying sucked like he was horrible, but he wasn't as the Jalen Hurts that we love to watch play football. It's those games you get him started with that running game. You let him go get hit a couple times, or he not get hit because he's really good at not getting hit or not getting hit. But get him involved with that running game first, so he can build that confidence. Hey, I'm in charge of this game. If you can't stop me on the running side, you're definitely not gonna touch me on the pass side.
I agree with you, except I would flip it. Start it off, get the offensive line going, and get the ball to the running backs. Then take the RPO off of the run. And I'm always a big proponent of when you start passing the ball, you go short to mid first. So you know what? Get the ball to AJ Brown on the quick slant, let him do his thing, and just get that started. Because we have that option and we got that talent that can do that. But I would still say start with the run. Let Swift or Gainwell or Penny, whoever they decide to go with, let him run off tackle, let him run behind Lane Johnson until the defense proves that they can stop us. If they can't stop us, you keep running it down their throat. But that's how you open up play action. Now you can beat them over the top because what you want to do is you want the defense to have to take one step. All we need is one step. All you need them linebackers to do is take one step up. One step equals 3 yards of space on the field. And that's enough separation to get to complete a pass. That's how everything opens up. Now you're in a situation where they don't know what you're going to do. Because now we pounded them with the running backs. Now Jalen Hurts pulls it and goes around the end because now the end is used to seeing the running backs keep the ball. Now that RPO opens up. Now the play action open up. Now over the top opens up. And you can do all of that without putting your quarterback in harm's way. Because here's one thing that we forget about. And this is what I don't like because it's out of our control. I do not want to put Jalen Hurts in a situation where the ref says, oh, he took a bad hit. We need to send him to the blue tent. That's what I don't want to happen because that is totally out of our control. Now, whether he took a hit or he hops up, if somebody in the booth says, yeah, we got to take him out.
Hey, they didn't do the Patty in the Super Bowl. He was dead.
Exactly.
And they let him come like he was on steroids or something.
But my point is, you don't want something to happen to Jalen that's out of our control. And that is out of our control. And I hate it. But you see what happened to Tua down in Miami. So they're going to be hyper aware of that type of stuff. So again, keep them out of harm's way. So that's not even a question we got to worry about.
And I think that I think our running game is not given enough credit. I mean, we are all enamored with the fact that Jalen Hurts is this dynamic quarterback, triple threat quarterback. But let's not miss the fact that the meat and potatoes of this offense is still the offensive line and it's still the running game. When we establish our running game, everything else runs smoothly. So I'm totally in agreement with what you're saying, Marcus. That running game should always be our focal point, our starting point of any journey that we're taking towards the end zone. Let's just start at the running game and then branch out into RPO play action. That sets up everything. And not to mention, like you said, and I'm in total agreement with this too, that our offensive line gets the start that they need when they're attacking and they're throwing the punches instead of retreating. So that's always a great place to start is that running game. And we have had a dominant running game in those years that we've been successful. Last year and our Super Bowl year, the running game is that where everything started. And even last year, the running game is all of it for us. We just get enamored with the fact that Jalen does what he does, and the league is all about the high flying passing offense and such. But we can't ever get past the fact that the strength of this offense is the offensive line, and what they do best is run block. So, yeah, we need to be starting there. And the more that we start there and give them an opportunity to do that, we kind of save Jalen a little bit. We save his body a little bit because I do agree that there's going to be adjustments on the defense. And they're going to be looking to put more hits on Jalen. And Jalen is a smart quarterback, and maybe he doesn't get started until he's smacked around. But the odds are, the more smacks you get, the more, chances that an injury could pop up. So I'm all with establishing that run game. I love our running back room, and I loved it even before Swift got there. I was excited when we signed Penny. I was excited with him. If he stays healthy, he's that bruising back. I mean, he can pound, man. And then him along with Gainwell, I thought that was adequate enough for me. When we signed Swift, that was just icing on the cake. I thought we were going to be okay with just Penny and Gainwell and Scott in the backfield. So I'm looking for this running game to continue to be a focal point, and no matter how they deploy it, I kind of think.
Why is it such a focal point? Because of Jalen Hurts.
I don't care why. I don't care. I don't care if it is Jalen Hurts.
I told you last year that his game stepped up. I mean, not Shady. I keep saying Shady. I don't know why. Ruby told you last year his game stepped up because of Jalen Hurts.
I disagree.
It's a focal point because of offensive last year. Their game stepped up because of Jalen Hurts. You're trying to underestimate my guy.
Oh, hold on. For our viewers and our guests, hold on. Let me just say this. Wait a minute. For our viewers and our guests, if you are tuning in for the first time, you need to understand that BG has always been a Jalen Hurts fan. He knew Jalen was going to be good when he came out of the womb. And this is just his weekly rant on supporting his man Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, I'm an old head, so I remember the Bugs Bunny cartoon when Bugs Bunny challenged the baseball game, and it was first base Bugs Bunny, second base Bugs Bunny, third base Bugs Bunny. That's how BG feels Jalen Hurts. Running back Jalen Hurts, center Jalen Hurts, wide receiver Jalen Hurts. He does everything on the field. So in case you're like, this guy is mad Jalen Hurts, I just wanted to give you a little background to what you may be hearing every time he utters the name Jalen Hurts. So continue with your rant.
Jalen freaking Hurts. Like I said,
hey, let me give you some math real quick. Let me give you some math when they say the math ain't mathing. But I got some that check this out. So we can all agree that for the most part of the year, they didn't run Miles Sanders the way they should have. And now I'm a Miles Sanders fan. As a running back, I like what he had to offer. And I don't think they ran him right. Because again, I'm old school. I want to see him get at least 15 to 20 every game. Right? So here's what you do. Who was the number one rusher last year? Josh Jacobs. So if you take the difference between the number of carries that Miles Sanders had and Josh Jacobs had, you take the difference. Josh Jacobs had more carries, obviously. If you take the difference and you multiply that by Miles Sanders' yards per carry, guess who leads the league in rushing?
Miles Sanders.
Now, mind you, how many games did we have that Miles Sanders had 2 and 3 carries in the whole first half?
But you gotta realize,
if they would have just ran him like a normal running back, if he would have averaged 15 carries a game, just a normal running back. And I say that because, and this is where I disagree with you, BG, the reason why people want to run the ball is because our offensive line is that good. You can go across the league. Nobody has an offensive line like ours. You got maybe 3 teams. Now, you've got a lot of teams with good offensive linemen, but across the board, an offensive line that we've got, not too many teams that got a bunch of hogs like we got and that can move the crowd like we got. They can say what they want. Lane Johnson ain't gave up a sack in 3 going on 4 years now?
3 years.
It's ridiculous. That's why our running game is so good. That's why we should have ran the ball more last year. And this is what I think we should do this year. Run the ball, set up your play action, use the play action to set up the RPO, and gut everybody that steps into the link.
And I agree with you. I'm just telling you, not good without Jalen Hurts. If we had Gardner Minshew,
Jalen Hurts gonna get his.
If
he's driving the ship.
Mariota starting. If you have Lamar Jackson starting. If you have Patty Mahomes starting. If you have any of these cats starting, it's a different offense. We are blessed. And that's the reason why I don't think the whole league understands that we have that much of a special quarterback. Like, we are blessed that he's so balanced. You know what I'm saying? He's so balanced. He can do all of it at a high level whenever he want to do it.
Man, he does take from the Jalen Hurts Kool-Aid ball.
You know?
Jalen Hurts is that dude.
You talking about Jalen been in the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Jalen Hurts is that
First
dude.
round playoffs.
But you still got to use your team smart.
How many records
play smart.
have he broke already? Talk to me. Talk to me both sides. Passing, throwing. How many records have he broke? I know they're individual, like little package records, but he's still only in his second year starting. So you can't be like expecting him to be the Aaron Rodgers or the Patty Mahomes of the world. He's still only a young pup in the game. Like if he takes his jump that he made from last year to, the year before last year, this year, what is that? That's my question to you, Marcus. What is that jump?
But
jumped any. He was.
But you proving
MVP.
You're proving my point.
Everybody,
proving my point. When he came out that second year, what does everybody remember from his second year? Everybody remembers that game against Tampa Bay in the playoffs, and everybody remembers that NFL film soundbite where Todd
Bowles sucked that Tampa Bay game. The whole team was defensive,
right? He remembers that. Jalen Hurts. Here's where the intangibles of Jalen Hurts comes into play, because the intangibles are what people talk about when they think a quarterback is not very good. He's got intangibles. He's a good leader. He can run the ball. He can get himself out of trouble, because that's what they're saying about Justin Fields right now. That's what they said about Jalen Hurts, but he has the type of personality where he hears it, he processes it, and he gets better. I would tell anybody, if you are a young quarterback in the league, you put Jalen Hurts on speed dial and you find out what the hell he did from year 2 to year 3. That's what I want to do. But my point is, when he transitioned from year 2 to year 3, his biggest detriment, his biggest weakness, rightfully so, this was a true criticism.
How can you say anything's a weakness?
Because he did not throw the ball on time, and he did not throw the ball with very good accuracy. In his second year?
Last year?
Second year? No, the year before.
The year before.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
You said when you talk about his progression, year 2, the biggest criticism was he didn't get the ball out on time and his accuracy was suspect. Year 3, he took care of that. So that's the biggest leap. We already knew he could run. So the biggest leap was his biggest progression was being a pocket quarterback, delivering the ball on time. And now he's what? Number 3 in deep ball passes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was the biggest leap, because the NFL is still a throwing league right now. So you have to go with that. And that's what he did. So now when you're looking at a dual threat, that means he can beat you in the air, he can beat you on the ground, and we can beat you with our running game, handing the ball off to the running backs. That's what we need to do.
I get it. I get all of that. But it's all, for me, it's like, I'm not taking nothing away from Jalen Hurts. I'm only adding to his plate. If I pay you $255 million, I'm adding to your plate. Like, you gotta realize, Jalen Hurts is not the normal quarterback. Let's talk about it for a second. What other quarterback deadlifts 600 pounds? You know what I'm saying? What other quarterbacks that strong, that gifted, that talented, in terms of the point where his body's built for it? You see him bounce off tackles, spin moves, force his way into the end zone. The quarterback sneak. Everybody act like the quarterback sneaks is a new fucking play. I'm sorry for cussing. It's not. They've been doing this for years, right? But because Jalen squats 600 pounds, can push that line, he is that bull that can push the line and get that first down every single time he wants to.
Guess what's going to happen next year, and I'm predicting this. They're going to look, because everybody in the league wants to stop that tush push or whatever they want to call it. Guess what everybody's going to do? They're going to go back and they're going to pull out some of that film of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Troy Polamalu trying to anticipate the snap, coming over the top and hitting them high. That's what's going to start happening.
You can't stop it.
Stop it.
You can't stop it. You could do that, Troy, whatever. Landon Dickerson, Mailata, Lane, Kels.
You shouldn't be able to stop him.
You're not going to be able to stop it. Period. Just for the simple point is these guys are too talented. You're talking about all pros. We get the best at their position type guys on our offensive line. The best. Not like, average players. These are the best to play their position on the offensive line. And then you got Jalen Hurts squad that much. They're not going to stop it. And to be honest with you, what's going to happen is, right? You talk about they've seen it all last year. They're going to come back with something different this year, right? But what's going to really happen is you see what happened at the end of last year, how they kept doing all those different plays off of that. You just opened up your offense. You know what I'm saying? The quarterback team never been ran as efficiently as we ran it last year. So now when everybody's studying that, try to figure out how to stop that, you just open up your offense. Boom. You've seen the toss pass. You've seen the screen pass. You can do so much stuff out of that offense. The fake quarterback sneak. Now, that wasn't a key play, and now will be definitely a key play this year. I promise you. Because now the whole league's on notice on it. They try to make a rule about it. You know? They try to make a whole rule about it.
But I would say the easiest way to even avoid that situation, if it's 3rd and short, line up put a loaded front on there and get the ball to Rashad Penny and let him go behind, either put Big Juergens in there or run behind Lane Johnson, whichever way you want to go, and let him get that 1 yard so you don't have to worry about 4th and inches.
I like talking to you about this, though. I know we're talking about our team now. Like you said, it is the off season. I want you to tell me a little bit something about when you played. You know?
Listen, when I played,
give me your guys that were there for you, that was like kind of mentoring you type thing.
So here's the thing. I was an undrafted free agent. When I came out of college, I went to Eastern Kentucky. I had broken I was the all-time leader.
Hey, congratulations for the College Football Hall of Fame, man.
Nomination. Thank you very much. I've been nominated. Not in yet. I've been nominated.
That's legit.
I appreciate that. I was the all-time leading rusher in 1AA history 4 times. Somebody eventually came and broke that record. Was supposed to go to Seattle. That fell through. Ended up going to Philadelphia, picked me up. And it was me and Vaughn Hebron.
I remember Vaughn.
We were 2 undrafted free agents at the same position. And we both made the team. That never happens. Never. But we did what we had to do. Playing with Herschel and Randall and all of them kind of guys.
Hey, Randall's my favorite quarterback of all time.
Randall's my dude, man. Listen,
tell me what it was like.
I spent Thanksgiving and Christmas at Randall's house.
What?
He took care of the rooks. I'm from Cincinnati. I'm born and raised in Cincinnati. So when you up here, I'm a rookie. I don't know nobody from New Jersey. So usually the vets will have one of the rookies come over. You can, stay with us for the holidays, so you ain't got to be by yourself. So I had Thanksgiving and Christmas at Randall's house when he still lived out in Mount Holly.
Wow, that's huge.
But
you're an Eagles fan, though.
Absolutely.
Before playing for the Eagles.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because Randall, you got to remember. So when I'm
old school too. I might look young. I'm old as hell, to be honest.
I went to college from 88 to 93, right? So that was right at the beginning of Sega Genesis and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, of course, me being a gamer and all of that kind of stuff. Randall was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. What was it? The Perfect Weapon or something? All of that.
Ultimate Weapon. The Ultimate Weapon. I remember it.
Here's a funny thing. I ran track my senior year in college to get prepared for the combine. And I had an opportunity to run at the Penn Relays. And when the first time I came to Philly, I didn't know Wawa was. A couple of my teammates was from DC and Baltimore. So we stayed at the hotel, one of the hotels down by Temple, And they're like, yo, we gonna go get some breakfast. We run into the Wawa. And I was like, you run into the what? Like, I didn't totally culture shock coming up here, man. We driving down Broad Street. I'm like, yo, why these dudes parked in the middle of the street? Like, what is this? So I had a great time my first visit to Philadelphia. And I was like, I would not mind coming up here. And then I ended up getting signed with Philadelphia, making a squad. We had a preseason game. I believe it was the third or the fourth preseason. I think it was the third preseason game. We played Atlanta, and I had 12 carries, 72 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Woo. And that's the game that got my roster spot.
Wonderful.
That was the game that got me a roster spot. So,
like in practice, though, was he like as great? Like Randall Cunningham is the reason I'm an Eagles fan. Period. I didn't even like pro football. To be honest, my dad was always like trying to get me to watch. He was an Eagles fan. He tried to get me to watch the Eagles. I'm like, man, I don't like pro football. I was always a college guy. You know, they did more. You know, it was different type of, play calling going on there. You had a lot of different things going on. I watched Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, McNabb, Vic, all those guys in college, all 4 years or whatever, how many years they, took there. And I loved college football, man. Like, it was my thing. But, like, that 1 year, Randall Cunningham, and first game, my dad was like, come watch this game. It was like Eagles-Cowboys game. What they call it, the Gumby play. Where he got hit, he stood up, and he slung it in there. And even after that game, I was like, damn, that was tight. I like it. And the whole game was good. And then it took a couple more games. But by like the fourth time, just what they stood for, what they were all about, like the defense was always good. All those shitty years the Eagles had, we still had good defense. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
It was the offense that was trash, not having a quarterback for all those years until we got Donnie. And
then we, I played for Kotite, so there's
Kotite, right?
I mean? So Randall was the truth, man. We just didn't. You saw what Randall was capable of when he ended up in Minnesota.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that was the biggest difference, man. But I was there with the last piece of that gangrene defense.
Yeah.
Aaron Evans, Seth Joyner, Willie T. Willie T is still one of my best friends.
I see you with all of them.
The free.
Like, are you guys all still like that close?
Like I still talk to Willie T all the time. Like Willie T was the best man at my wedding. Me and him are tight forever.
Yeah.
I still talk to Von Hebron every now and then. G Cobb was just on my show. I go back and forth. I text Brian Baldinger. I become good for, even though I didn't play with him, I become friends with Barrett Brooks.
Yeah.
Brooks. Visek Kahima was my dude, man. Visek Kahima is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in your life. Love that dude. And I can still, we meet at the alumni game and stuff like that. And just like anything, when you're on a team and you see your boys that you ain't seen in a while, it's just like you never left. You know what I mean? So I'm friends with Jason Dunn. Jason Dunn, we didn't play together. Jason Dunn was after me, but me and Jason Dunn played in Eastern Kentucky together. So we got that.
That one.
Yeah, man. So every time we see
what would you say the biggest difference for your era and this era?
Now you can't touch nobody.
Very simple.
Dude,
very
when I
simple.
say we used to bang, man, you go up to Westchester in the 90s and you go to one of the practices, and then at some point in practice, they was going to do live 11 on 11, 2s versus 1s. And it was the number 2 defense versus the number 1 offense and vice versa. And a lot of times, if it was the number 1 offense and you don't want to get your vets hurt, who do you think was going in running them plays? They would put the rooks in there, the undrafted free agents, y'all the body count. Right. So you had to bang, man. One of the scariest moments when you see your life flash before your eyes, we traveled up to New York. We spent a week up in New York to scrimmage the Jets.
Right.
And this was when Ronnie Lott was with the Jets. And we in 11 on 11, and I get the ball, inside play. I make it to the second level, and I look up and I see 42 coming at me. And I'm thinking, I'm about to cancel Christmas because it's a wrap right now because he had me dead to rights. But he ran past me, coming full speed, and just kind of tapped me on my shoulder and ran past me. And
Wow.
my heart was like, I thought he was going to light
No,
me
he's like
up.
gonna blast you.
Oh my God. So, but we bang, man. 2 days where they missed
Yeah,
something.
I remember
And
being in the
that goes
summer
into my thing when
going to
it's much more
McDonald's in the middle
difficult
of
for
2
me this
days.
year or these days to see how difficult it is to evaluate talent in preseason because you don't see it in camp. It's all on the preseason games.
But
Because I think
the
I
Eagles got
expect
it
to see
good.
a lot of Trey Sermons in preseason this year.
I think the Eagles got it good though. We do that
Yeah.
joint practicing twice.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that is legit. Like I fully am on board what Nick said. It's organized, but you're going one-on-ones. And that's really the only part that matters. It doesn't matter in the preseason for the first drive or the first 2 drives. You're going ones-on-ones. If you can go whole practices ones-on-ones, I think that gets a lot more out of it. I do love the whole joint practice thing. Like that thing is definitely came into its form, and it does a good job with us.
My only thing is the lack of hitting, because I don't know. I didn't play like you guys, but I just think that you want to get prepared for live action. You got to be able to hit, right? I think that's the best way to prepare. I played basketball. It's just you have to. I know practice is not the same as a game, but in football, I just feel like the physicality, you kind of need that to get the body ready for live action. You know what I mean?
100%.
So, yeah. So that's the only
That's why the first
downfall
4
I see.
games. That's why the first 4 games tackling is going to be garbage.
Yes.
Right.
The teams that get out front are the teams that can get used to tackling at full speed the quickest. Because the first 4 weeks, tackling is going to be hot garbage. It was for us last year.
Hot garbage.
Yeah, it was. I always say that. Our first 4 weeks is an extended preseason because the guys haven't played live, football, like game speed football. So, they're getting their bodies acclimated. And,
when
like
you
said,
it's a certain thing.
Quickest.
It's a certain thing when you play. Like, I remember playing summer football. It's like you got to get hit in the offseason. Like, you got to get hit. Like, I want to be smacked in the offseason. When I play running back, I want you to, like, give me those bells and whistles in the summertime. So now I already got it in me. My body's callous about it. So now when I go to a regular game, I ain't worrying about it no more. Because I already had it. I know what I need to do to prevent it. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. And I do think it's definitely got a lot softer. But the teams that, if you don't notice, all the teams that have 2 or more joint practices are the teams that are the best teams in the league right now. Like, it's the teams that don't do the joint practices that suck. They try to do that whole preseason game. It's the teams that do joint practices more than 2 or more that are the best team in the league, because you're going red zone. You know what I'm saying? I'm going red zone, goal line against your number ones, straight up. Red zone, goal line against your number ones right now. Let's go. We will keep running over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, so I can figure out what I really need to do in real life. You know what I'm saying? In that situation. But I'm gonna show you some shit. And
all
really,
right,
go ahead.
Marcus, we appreciate that your appearance on the show today. You gave us a lot in the opening of the show. We got to chew on a couple bites of what you gave us, but let's move to the defensive side of the ball, because one of the nuggets that you gave us in talking about the defense was that linebacker battle. And I gotta, my show is Eagles Talk, and I have a co-host on there that played on the defensive side of the ball, and he also loves Christian Ellis, and he thinks that he's going to be a sleeper also. So give me more insight on that linebacker battle that you're talking about, and your optimism with Christian Ellis.
Well, I mean, Moreau was somebody they brought in. We know what Nakobe Dean is. He's going to get his opportunity to play. I just think Christian Ellis, plain and simple, I just think name is not big enough and people don't talk about him enough. But just like Nakobe Dean, every time he had an opportunity to get some reps, he made the most of it.
Facts.
And you got to think he's one of them. I don't know if people know this or not. Christian Ellis is one of them Polynesian kids. He's got that wild streak. That boy can flat out play. And I think this year, both him and Nakobe Dean, they are having their opportunity to shine, and nothing is in their way. And I think they're going to show improve. And again, their names are not big enough. That's why Nakobe Dean is different because he was a top pick. Christian Ellis, not so much. But that boy can play. And when he's on the field, he makes the most of his reps. And now that there's nothing, if he doesn't come out and ball this year, that's his fault. You know what I mean? There's no more excuses. So, and I think he's one of them type of kids. He's got that type of personality where he's going to make the most of this opportunity, and you're going to see it this year.
Well, what I love about this coaching staff is that we don't get a lot, and we see this, and you probably can speak to it a lot, but it's not a lot of draft politics that go in, right? They seem to play the best performer in practice, you know what I mean? And you want that. You want the best players on the field. You don't want draft politics to start dictating who's on the field or not. So I feel comfortable and confident that this coaching staff does eliminate as much as possible, as much as they can, the draft politics. So you're right. If Christian Ellis plays up to his ability and shines, he'll get that spot. So I'm looking forward to, because I'm an Eagles fan. I root for that jersey and not the person in it. I mean, well, I do root for the person in it as long as they're wearing it.
Right.
You know I'm saying I root for that jersey. So I don't care what round they were drafted in or whatever, as long as they're the best person or the best talent, I want to see them on the field. I don't care if they were undrafted free agent or drafted first round. I want to see the best player on the field. So hopefully Christian will take advantage of his opportunity, and I'll be rooting for him. I'm rooting for anybody that's going to make this team a better team, which brings me to my weekly rant on who I don't have a lot of confidence in, and that goes back to the offensive side of the ball. And you tell me what your feelings is with Quez Watkins. I'm down on.
Wow! What the hell, Dark Knight? Really?
I gotta.
Really?
If you get your weekly rant on Jalen Hurts, I've got to get mine on, because I want to know Marcus's opinion. If Quez Watkins was a stock, I would have him at sell right now, because I'm not confident.
Here's my thoughts on Quez. And I want to preface this by saying I saw all the tweets and everybody. He thinks everybody is hating on him and think he can't play anymore. None of that. I try to keep it 100 when it comes to that. Quez Watkins has great, not quite elite, but he has great speed. Yes. Having great speed is still better than most in the NFL.
Yes.
Right? But big time players make big time plays in big time games.
Yes.
And when it came time to make those plays, he didn't. He had a good year. He had a productive year last year. What does everybody remember? Everybody remembers the fumble against Washington.
Yes.
And of course, everybody remembers what happened in the Super Bowl. So I think with him having a chip on his shoulder, I think he's going to play well this year. Now he's got somebody coming up on his heels with Zacchaeus that can play too. So now he's got somebody nipping out his heels like, bro, if you don't show up, you're going to be promoted to customer or promoted to fan, watching on the side of the bench. So he has a chip on his shoulder. He didn't lose his speed. He didn't lose his ability to be a wide receiver. You just got a little bit more pressure on it. And the pressure that you see, everybody thinks you suck now and all of that kind of stuff. That's not the case. We just calling it like we see it. The big eye in the sky don't lie. You had opportunities to secure a couple of games, and you didn't do that. Now, you can wipe all of that off the table, because going into the new year, you got a brand new slate. And what he has to do is every opportunity he gets to make a play, he better make that play. Because if he doesn't, everybody's going to be going back to what he didn't do last year. And I put, and I know I'm switching genres real quick, but you put Quez Watkins and you put Joel Embiid in the same boat, because it's all going to be about what you do when you get that opportunity. And he's got to make the most of it, because you got somebody nipping at your heels, and you know the Philadelphia faithful is going to let him know if he drops the ball, it'll be Nelson Aguilar all over again. And we don't need that.
And that's what I feel. I feel like him coming into this year is almost reminiscent of Nelly coming into that 2017 year. Yeah. And he made a big impact in that Super Bowl year. And Quez has the opportunity to do that. But I agree totally that as the third wide receiver on this squad here, you don't get a lot of opportunities, but you have to make the most of them when you get your opportunity. And I think that he blew some big opportunities, and that's all I'm looking for. I'm just looking for more reliability, because you're not going to get the targets that AJ and Devontae and Goddard are getting. You're going to get limited opportunities, so you have to take advantage of your limited opportunities. I don't think that he did as well as he could have, and some of those were big time spots where he kind of well, this is not a pun, drop the ball. You know what I mean? So we need him to just be more reliable. We need a reliable third receiver. You don't have to be a star, but you have to be reliable when your opportunity comes up, because you're not going to get a lot of them.
Let's talk about real facts here. Watkins did not drop more balls than Devontae Smith or AJ Brown.
The math ain't math.
Because he was not Devontae Smith or AJ Brown. He didn't get targeted as much as Devontae Smith or AJ Brown. It's
not about how many, it's about when he dropped them.
It's about the whole
big time moments.
Derek Barnett thing with the Eagles. You know? Derek's a good football player. I don't care what anybody says. He's a great
Absolutely he is.
Mm-hmm.
But he makes bonehead decisions at the wrong time.
He makes mental mistakes, and it's going to cost him his spot on the
roster.
And
that's what happened with Quest last year. But the guy came out and admitted it, you know? That my head wasn't there. You know, on and off the football field, my head wasn't there. You got to look at Quest. Like I tell everybody, he was number 2 receiver the year before. The number 2 receiver on our team, almost 700 yards. He had more touchdowns last year than he did the previous 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
He had 3. And I just think, like he said, it was hard for him to take a demotion, basically. You know, you went for number 2 receiver, number 3 receiver. You got demoted. And I don't care. People got hearts. People got feelings. And I think he didn't take it.
Here we go.
No.
Cue the violins. Cue the violins. Here we go. This is a man sport, man. What are you talking about?
Let me say this.
He got feelings.
Here's
That's his
this will
job.
give me opportunity. Here's the crux of why I call my podcast Pro Fan Talk. Because I played at the highest level, but now I'm a fan. So I've seen both worlds. So I know what happens in practice. I know what gets talked about in meeting rooms. And I've sat in the stands with the fans. I know how that fandom goes. What I think my purpose is, I can give you that middle ground. So any player that goes into an NFL camp, you automatically know. Every year, somebody is coming after your job. That's just the nature of the beast. We would have, and this is a true story, every year in camp, one guy would show up, and the next day, they gone. Some people would be cut. Some people would quit. Some people would get all the way up there, get homesick, missing their boo, all of that kind of stuff. Like, yo, what happened to your roommate? Man, he just packed up his stuff. He didn't get cut? Nah, he wasn't feeling it. Happens all the time. But you know, every time you come into a camp, there's somebody coming for your job. Period. When I got cut, it's because we drafted a young man named Charlie Garner. And you know what he turned out to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what are you going to say? He put it down when he had to put it down. Quez Watkins is no different. You can't have feelings. When you get your opportunity to shine, you got to shine. That's it. Point, period, in the paragraph. So when it doesn't matter how many catches he gets, it just matters when he gets his opportunity, whether it's a block, running the right route, not jumping off sides, to your Derek Barnett point, Whenever that opportunity, because sometimes you don't have to make the play to make the play. Whatever it is you do at full speed to the best of your ability and all that kind of stuff. But in Quez Watkins' situation in particular, he had a couple of moments, not many, but they were big moments that he could have closed out the game. He could have secured the dub, and he did not do that. That is why people were down on Quez Watkins. Now, let me say this. If I'm going to choose between Quez Watkins and Zacchaeus, I want Quez Watkins. He's bigger and he's faster. I want Quez Watkins. So I want Quez Watkins with the chip on his shoulder.
Hey,
I think Quez Watkins is going to have a good year this year.
Yeah, me too. I believe that.
And I hope for the sake of our team, not you guys. I mean, I love you guys, but for the sake of this team, I hope that he does have a good year. I'm not rooting against him. I'm just telling you my feelings, my level of confidence, and it's not very high. That's all I'm doing. I'm just telling you like it is.
Sandwich.
So I'm rooting for him. I want him to do good. If he does good, that means my team is doing good.
You told me you give me a sandwich and a what?
Yes, I will take 2 peanut butter jelly sandwiches and a cold glass of milk for Quez Watkins, and that's open for negotiation. If you want to give me 2 peanut butter sandwiches, just give me a bigger glass of milk, and you got him. All right, I'm just saying I need him to perform in the big moments because the speed means nothing if you're not threatening the defense. Your speed means nothing if you're not threatening the defense. If they know he's not going to catch it, they don't, you know what I'm saying? Or they're not going to go to him with the ball, it means nothing. So I just need him to take advantage of the limited opportunities that he's going to get because he's the 3rd receiver in a very talented offense. You know what I mean? And actually the 4th because, Goddard probably, gets targeted more than Quez. So in those limited opportunities, you have to take advantage of it. You have to. So, and I need.
And you know what? You made a good point that I wanted to touch on when you were talking about draft politics, right? Because Nick Sirianni gives you that vibe that he is fiercely loyal to his guys, right? But when you look at Bill Belichick, Jimmy Johnson, Bill Parcells, Dick Vermeil. You look at those coaches that had their guys. They were also not afraid to say, hey, you're not getting it done. It's nothing personal, but we got to get somebody better in here. And that was my biggest fear for Nick Sirianni. I don't think it's that way. We'll see how this turns out because I think he might be like that with his coaches because in my opinion, our special teams coach should have been fired, but he's still here. It is what it is.
Great point.
We got to get, and going back to what we're talking about with Quez, he likes Quez. But you got to be able to recognize you're not getting it done, put somebody else in there. And I want to know that Nick Sirianni can actually do that. He did actually show me and show me some things when he voluntarily gave up calling the offense. That's him realizing that I'm not getting it done. Let me give it to the guy who knows a little bit better about this than I do. That was big for me. He was like, okay, you understand what you know what you don't know. You know what you got this guy in here that's an offensive genius. Let him do what you pay him to do.
Yes.
Pass that down to your team and let them know, yes, I'm loyal to you. Yes, I will fight for you. However, if you don't get the job done, it's nothing personal. I got to get somebody that can help this team win. Thanks. So that's the only other thing I need to see with Nick Sirianni that to me, he's not quite over that hump because if he was, Crash Test Covey wouldn't have been doing punt returns all last year.
Right.
Our special teams wouldn't have been as bad as they were all last year. Do you guys realize that we almost lost at home to Dallas because Kavontae Turpin didn't make the jump over his own player to score that touchdown? He ended up tripping and falling. If he keeps his feet, he scores and we lose that game. Our special teams last year was hot garbage. And oh my goodness, don't forget what happened in the Super Bowl.
You can't ever have a perfect team. That's the thing. I'd rather it be special teams. That'd be the downfall.
Our
Of our
special
team.
teams that get because special
In
teams is the
offense
key.
or
You can
defense,
have the
we were
best offense,
historic.
the special
We were
teams will let you down.
historic at defense. We're pretty much historic at offense. Like we
And what was an Achilles heel last? I mean, with us being as strong on offense and defense last year, what was the Achilles heel in the Super Bowl? I mean, we had some mistakes, but special teams
and
came
run
up
defense.
and bit us in the ass in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. So, you know, we do have to improve on that aspect of the game. I'm with you on the fact that, yeah, he was loyal to his special teams coach. And that's the part I don't like. Like, that's the part I gave him great amount of respect when he stepped down from play calling duties. I was like, this is the kind of guy I want to see as the coach of my team that understands where, you know, that he's going to do whatever it takes, even if it means eating crow to a certain extent and checking his ego at the door and
It's
stepping
still his
back. That's
offense.
what I want to see. But
It's still
in the
his
Quez,
offense.
you know, I don't think you would see a Bill Belichick or a Bill Parcells come out and back a receiver that we're kind of down on. They're not those type of coaches. They don't have loyalty to players in that sense. They have loyalty to performance. That's what they have loyalty for. They have loyalty to performance. So in knowing that Quez, this is a big season or a big training camp for him, they brought in some competition at his position because they want to see more reliable play out of that position. I don't think you see a legendary coach come out and back a receiver just because he had a few good OTAs. And that's what scares me about Sirianni, that loyalty right there hopefully doesn't cloud his judgment on putting in the best player when it comes to time to make that decision.
I got two players, rookies. I need to get you guys' opinions on. Start with him. So I would be surprised if Sidney Brown isn't started week 1. How do you guys feel about the situation? How do you guys view our safety situation? Let me know what you're talking about.
I'll let Marcus.
I think we're good at safety. I don't think he's going to start. I don't think he's going to start because he's going to be learning behind Terrell Edmonds. Now, the great equalizer is we just signed Terrell Edmonds. So he hasn't really even had a chance to know what the offense is. Well, technically nobody has because Sean Desai's brand new. So that probably will put it a little bit on more even terms. I think he can, given the right opportunity, because let's be honest, when I look at Terrell Edmonds, the only thing I can think of is that play when A.J. Brown scored a touchdown on both of them.
Yeah,
in the Pittsburgh backfield, and they was looking at each other. So, however, he is a veteran. He played solid for Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. So he's got some chops with him. But Sidney Brown is a beast. But he's still a rookie. And I got some things that he's got to learn. So we'll see. I think he will be good enough to play. Whether he can do that right off the bat, I don't know.
Well, not big. You think he'll start?
Refresh my memory. Was Reed Blankenship a rookie last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
So we see that there's a possibility that a rookie can come in and make a splash if they are talented enough. All right. So I do like the kid. I like the kid coming out. Apprehension is whether he gets up to speed quick enough to be able to make that type of impact. And he does have a veteran who's not as flashy, but Edmonds is solid. He's solid.
He's solid.
He has the upper hand, I think, going into training camp. I'll give him that. If he's number one on the depth chart going into camp, I think he deserves that. But I'm kind of rooting for Sidney Brown. I'm rooting for his progress to be accelerated. Hopefully that his progress is accelerated in this camp, because this is that cheap labor that we need to take advantage of, right? Because we just gave Jalen the bag, although Howie the Wizard did a great job at structuring the deal where it's not killing us, but we still don't have the as much money flexibility as we had in the past to go out and sign some of these big time free agents. So our cheap labor is hitting on more draft picks, and Sidney Brown is one that I think that benefit this team a lot if he can step into that role and be a future cornerstone in that secondary. Like his physicality and all, young guy. We saw the blueprint that Kansas City laid down last year with a lot of young guys starting on the defensive side of the ball, and it paid off. They are the champions now. And not only are they the champions, those young guys now have an experience behind them now. So I'm rooting for Sidney Brown, but I understand that Reed played an excellent safety last year in his rookie season, and he was undrafted, right? He was undrafted free agent. Am I correct on that? Undrafted free agent. So I'm rooting for Sidney Brown. I think we're okay if he doesn't start week 1, but I'm rooting for his progress to be accelerated, and at some point this year he can give us meaningful snaps. That's where I am with Sidney.
And it all depends. Also, we got to figure out what Desai's going to do with Keely Ringo. Is he going to be a safety or is he going to be a cornerback?
Good point.
I personally like to see him at cornerback because he's he's 4.35, 4.37 speed at 6'2" with 207. So he's got great size for a cornerback. He's not a small cornerback, and he's got the speed to run. So now you got 2 super fast cornerbacks on both sides. So you got Slay, Bradbury, and don't forget Avonte Maddox and Keely Ringo over there if they play him there. So we have young depth, and that's what we need. Like I said earlier, Reed Blankenship was better than anybody thought he would be last year. So he's earned his spot. He knows what to expect. So we'll see. I think we're going to cross the board in the secondary, and I think we're not going to have the Josiah Scott experience again. When Josiah Scott when Avonte Maddox got hurt, they brought in Maddox. I'm sorry, not Josiah Scott, and it was not pretty. He was not ready. He got better towards the end of the year, but when they first put him in there, that was not pretty. So we can't have that again. So I think we're in the situation now. Avonte Maddox is healthy. Bradbury, Slay, Blankenship. I think we're good. Whoever they decide to make that 4th or that 5th, I think we're in good shape because now we've got the youth, we've got the vets to teach the youth, and the youth have got elite skills. We don't have, a bunch of free agents back there. We got some quality people, some quality players, Pro Bowl level players. I don't think we'll miss C.J. Gardner-Johnson a little bit.
Nope.
Quiet as kept. Darius Slay should have had probably 6 or 7 interceptions last year. I don't know what was going on with our defense, but how many picks did we drop last year?
Yeah.
It was crazy. So I expect that same level of play this year, and even better because our defensive line got better. Yes, we lost Hargrave, but everybody's sleeping on Milt Williams. Everybody's sleeping on Josh Sweat. And you still got Fletch, and you still got BG, and then the young guns coming in. So we straight.
I agree. Again, man, we thank Marcus Thomas for joining us today. We're about to wrap this up, man. We've been on here a long time. This is very, very entertaining, very, very informative to have you give us the insight as not only a player, but a fan, a former player that is a fan now. The name of your podcast again, let everyone know out there.
You can catch me on Pro Fan Talk, my show, the Pro Fan Talk, every Thursday on A2D Radio. And you can catch my personal channel on YouTube, also called Pro Fan Talk, where I just, blast out the news, what's going on, hot topics. Today I was talking about Live Golf, the Saquon Barkley situation, all of that kind of stuff. So you catch me in 2 spots. My personal channel, which is Pro Fan Talk, and my show, every Thursday, 7 p.m. on A2D Radio. Hit me up.
Hey, before we get out here, we got this Dallas Cowboy Eagles rivalry that's been blowing up all off season. Tell me, what's your response from this video?
Because listen, when you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, it's I'm not gonna say it on camera, but it's forget the Eagles, right? It's blank Eagles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We want to know as a player, is it that same energy? And then also, I want to know, what is your thoughts? Because I'm gonna tell you the biggest comparison that you're getting right now is the Dak Prescott and the Jalen Hurts conversation. You know what I'm saying? And I know, being as a fan, you've probably been able to see both of them. Obviously, you've only played with Dak Prescott, but I want to know, do you see any differences in their game? And if you could pick one, I don't know who you pick, but I'm curious on what are your thoughts on that quarterback up there in Philadelphia, man.
No. Jalen Hurts is spectacular though, but you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like, just Dak and him, they're different. Like, they're not even close. Like they're not even the same. Like, to me, like, Jalen Hurts is more like, look, he's more of a runner, bro. Like, that's just facts, bro. Like, look, he's just built that way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, Dak has the luxury of certain games. Do you feel like running for 50 yards, or do you feel like throwing for like 400? Jalen's like bottled to, like, you know what I'm saying, like 100 yards rush and 200 yards pass. But he's more like I would say more like a ground and pound type quarterback. Dak is like the best of both worlds. Like, Dak is more like a thrower, bro.
Yeah.
So,
Lord have mercy.
Oh my God! Don't
Here's
expose us to those cretins. I mean, that.
Listen, here's my logic, and again, this is when I put on the player's hat. I pay no attention to rankings, predictions. I don't pay attention to any of that preseason.
Right.
When I get down and dirty about what we have, what kind of team we have, and what I expect. Now, in today's NFL, you cannot come to any type of conclusion on what type of team you have until week number 5. You done had 4 games to see what you got.
Mm-hmm.
You know if your quarterback's good. You know if your offensive line is good. You know what your receivers can do. And you know what kind of defense you have. You need 4 games to see that. So that way you don't have one game where somebody shows out and the next 3 they don't show up.
Mm-hmm.
4 games is the evaluation. You're at a quarter of a season, so now you see how your teams gel. Now you see if Brock Purdy still ain't got it, his elbow ain't right, or the mental game ain't right. He still thinks somebody gonna come at his elbow. Different things like that. You can see that all comes out in the wash, and by week 4 or week 5, you know everything you need to know about your team. Now going forward, you done got all the cobwebs out. You done watched enough film, and everybody's got enough film on you. So now you know what's what. All this preseason stuff and the rankings, and Colin Cowherd said Jalen Hurts is not in the top 50 or PFF or whatever it is. None of that matters. None of it matters. So I don't really get into all of that. I might say something on my YouTube channel to get the clickbait because that's what people are looking into. But as far as a player, it doesn't matter. You win. You have 17 one-game seasons. Your job is to win the game in front of you. Period. If you don't take care of that, whatever happens next week is irrelevant.
Where you put them though?
What the Cowboys?
Where you put Jalen Hurts?
What do you mean? Where do I put him? Where do I rank him?
Yeah. At top quarterbacks.
I would put Jalen Hurts probably. I would probably put him like 4 or 5.
Oh my God!
Realistically, I would put him 4 or 5, but I'm good with that because I don't. Here's my thing: when Jalen Hurts came out 22 going into 23, I said I want Jalen Hurts to be good. He doesn't have to be great. Now he's great. So now the only thing I want out of Jalen Hurts is to be consistent because you got to look at it like this. The few games he had a chance to throw above 400 yards, they ended up taking him out of the game. When we played Green Bay,
yes,
was it? No, it wasn't. It wasn't Green Bay. It was
Minnesota.
whatever the game was, we were up handily, and we started running the ball. So he wasn't going to throw the ball. So we find ourselves in situations like that. So he's not going to get the stats that would put him at a number 3, 2, or a 1 as the quarterback in the league. And I'm good with that because all of that stuff doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is he gets our Philadelphia Eagles to the playoffs. I don't care where you rank him. You can rank him 50th. I don't care.
Like last year,
that's how I look at it.
16-2.
Rankings don't matter. Rankings are for the fans, not for players. So throw that stuff out with the bathwater because just like last year, they was disrespecting him all the way up to the Super Bowl. And guess what happened?
Right.
He had the best Super Bowl in history. You know, he was one play short. If he doesn't fumble that ball, but he did. So it is what it is. I don't worry about that stuff. They can talk all that smack. And the Cowboys gonna have some trouble because, and I said this one time, I said I was scared of Micah Parsons because Micah Parsons was balling and Micah Parsons wasn't saying much. And I was like, if this kid keeps that same attitude where he keeps his head down, don't say much, he just steps on the field and just balls out. If he keeps that attitude, when he becomes the leader of that defense, they're gonna be dangerous. But sure enough, he get a taste of that Dallas Cowboys Kool-Aid, and he want to talk and go on podcasts and throw that nonsense out there. All right, you got to cash them checks. So now he talking like everybody else, and it's like, dude, it don't matter that you play for the Cowboys or the Giants or whoever. You got to worry about who you playing this week. Period. Don't worry about what we doing. We ain't worried about what you doing because it don't matter. I'll worry about Dallas when we play Dallas.
All right. Well, you're different than me because I'm a fan. I ain't playing, so I don't. And I'm an Eagles fan at that. So we're not Michelle Obama. When they go low, we go to hell. We go lower. We go to damn hell. So you don't come out and talk about my quarterback. You don't do that. So
don't talk about Janet Freakers.
So it doesn't matter in the long run about the ranking. Yeah, it doesn't matter about wins. I'm worried about that. I mean, that's all I'm concerned about. But when the fan base comes at this fan base, you need to understand that we're the Eagles fan base and we don't stand for that. So that was just some Fabernacle bullshit that he was talking on. He couldn't even
think of what to say. He was struggling to come up with. But and also you got to remember now they know that everything is going on the podcast or something, and just like when Micah Parsons got in that trouble when he was on Vaughn Miller's podcast, they got to be thinking about stuff like that. So they don't want to say too much. You're not going. Everybody ain't going to be a CJ Gardner-Johnson talking about how much he hates the Philly fans and all of that kind of stuff. So half of that is into it, but in my opinion, I just think he really didn't know what to say. At the end of the day,
was CJ really that good? Or was it just fine? Because you realize we went like 5 games without him. We did perfectly fine.
Yeah, we did, but he was that good. He should have had 10 interceptions.
Okay.
In my opinion, he was that good. I have no problem. Now, mind you, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, so I watch Chad Johnson and guys like that. I have no problem if you talk smack, but you back it up.
Yeah.
And he backed it up. So I hated to see him go, but he's another one. They run their mouth too much, and they get so, I didn't play with social media. If a news reporter or somebody for the Philly Inquirer said something out of pocket, I was going to see him in the locker room. Now they don't have that. So there's a whole level of communication that I didn't have to deal with. So I'm not thin-skinned like that. So it's like, talk your talk, man. But you're going to catch it eventually. You're going to have to cash that check too. But the Philly fans did not want CJ Gardner-Johnson to go.
No, we did not.
So
I did not.
Wherever he was getting that news from, I didn't understand it. But what he did was he overshot his market.
Yes,
I don't mind him shooting his shot because he should have made more money. But then you turn around and you take the contract you took for Detroit. Come on, man, you should have stayed here for all of that.
Yeah,
but hey, it is what it is. We'll see them in the playoffs probably if everything stay healthy. But I don't get caught up in all of that, man. You with Detroit right now, so you solve those problems first before you come embarking this way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm with that.
like we all want him to come back when he was hurt. You know what I'm saying? We're all like, come on, let's get back here. We need you back. We need you back. We gave you mad love. But are we
Yeah, I don't
really
know.
are we
I
really
don't understand how they got twisted the way it did, but people gonna take what they take and run with it. So
do you
he was
think
he
we're
was
obnoxious at all? I know what Jalen Hurts are really obnoxious. Right, with the team as a general. Do you think that's just our rap for being Eagles fans?
yeah. Listen, some of the stuff that we catch, some of the hell that we catch as Eagles fan, we deserve
Right.
because there are some phenomenal Eagles fans, and 95% of them are phenomenal. It's just the 5% that always are the ones on YouTube doing crazy stuff in the stadium, and that's what everybody runs with. They listen. I played in '93 and '94, and they was talking about throwing snowballs at Santa Claus back then, and they still talk about it today. So there's a video on my YouTube channel, and it's called "I Hate Philadelphia Fans." But what it talks about is, and I got video clips of all the other stadiums, New York, San Francisco, LA, all the other teams, and all the fights in their stands that you don't hear about. But every
Yeah.
time there's a fight in the Philadelphia stadium or the parking lot or something like that, it's like it makes national news. And it's like, dude, ain't no team exempt. Everybody got assholes in their stadium.
Do you
You
try
can't get
going to
away from that.
Oakland, early '90s, late '90s?
Jokers was getting killed.
Yeah, you getting stabbed, my guy.
So
Like you don't got a Raider jersey on, you're tripping. Period.
it's the narrative now. So everybody runs with the narrative. Then you saw what happened with Fred Warner's wife.
Yeah.
Now CJ Gardner Johnson. I'm like, but did y'all see the video of that fan from San Francisco? The dude was like, you can't be thin skinned and go to an Eagles game. If you can dish it out, if you can take it, you'll be fine. But like he laid it out and it was like, there you have it. You got somebody that's not afraid to talk a little smack, but he can take it as well as he can give it. And that's what you got to have if you're walking into Philly.
I totally agree. And we don't condone any of that physicality where you're beating people up, and we don't condone that. But don't get it twisted. When we leave, that's like, brother, you have an argument with your brother. You might not agree with him, but when we leave that house, we're a united front. So I thought, we're a united front. So those Eagle fans, we stand united no matter what. We'll take that bad reputation or whatever. You can give us all that, but we're passionate about our team. And like you just stated, we're not the scum of the earth. There's fan bases out there and people that are doing a lot worse than what they claim that we do. But we are, that's just the nature of the game. You go in some stadiums and you got to be ready to be able to, if you're going to wear those colors, you better be ready to defend those colors, because sometimes
just because you serve sushi at your facility don't mean you exempt.
No, you're not.
What about Ringo, guys? Ringo. You're talking about Ringo moving to safety. I know I had a poll on my channel. Make sure you guys let me know. Do you guys want to see Ringo as a safety this year? To get him on that field, to get him involved. He's one of the fastest players in the NFL. Just to get the athleticism on the football field. Let him start at safety. Or do you think he needs to just chill out and do what Dean did last year? Do what Jordan Davis did last year. Take that red shirt. Understand the game of football. And go start for like a, Darius Slay or Bradbury.
He's in the same, in my opinion, he's in the same situation as Sidney Brown. But he's a 4th round draft pick. And there's guys ahead of him that got a little bit more experience. So it doesn't really matter where they play him. And let's not forget, ain't nobody mentioning Greedy Williams. He ain't no scrub. So he's got to get in. And mind you, you can't take for granted the learning curve going from college to the NFL. He's got a lot to learn. I know he's got the talent, but speed means nothing if you're in the wrong position, because everybody in the league is fast. So if he knows what he's supposed to know, I trust that the coaches will put him in the right place. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I think that that's a luxury we actually have now. It's almost like the Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown years, where
Right.
we had the luxury of having two talented young men that didn't have to be rushed into the field to play. They got to learn behind two great cornerbacks, and we have this situation now. He's a talented young man, and he has the luxury or the privilege to learn behind two great cornerbacks right now. So I think that we don't need to rush him onto the field. Let him learn his lessons. Give him the red shirt year, so to speak. Darius and Bradbury are still playing at a high level. So, come out and do your best, of course. But I think we have, as a team, have the luxury of being able to bring him along slowly and not have to throw him into the pit of hell immediately.
I want to bring
see him as a nickel.
Bring Brown and Ringo as your two starting safeties. The energy of Brown.
You might see him in some nickel and dime packages, and you'll definitely see him on special teams. So they're gonna get some, and plus you already know they're gonna get burned in preseason.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing, I always bring it up, and this is a luxury that we have, is that these guys get to practice against top tier talent. Like it's not like we have like the number 25 offense on the field and the defense is going up against some slouches on offense. The defense is going up against a top 3 offense. The offense is going up against a top 3 defense. These guys are getting valuable lessons in practice going up against the talent that they're facing on their own team. And I think that we've seen it benefit this team last year, and I think it'll continue to do so this year in the training camp sessions, even though they're not allowed to hit. How much further would they be if they were allowed to do the 2 days that you guys, Marcus, used to do? How much better? How much sharper would they be if they were able to do that?
Much sharper. But these days you gotta protect that investment, man. So I get it.
Hey Marcus, man, thanks for coming with us, man. I know I've been wanting to do shows with you for a minute. I think like 2 years now, almost 2 years now. We've been trying to get this show down. I'm so happy you're able to come on here, give us your wisdom about the NFL, man. Give your final thoughts and places they can find you at, my guy.
Again, you can find me on my YouTube channel, ProFan Talk, and you can find me on my weekly show, A2D Radio, every Thursday at 7 p.m. on A2D Radio, man. And it's just all about the Birds. And we ready to get it popping, man. Don't get too caught up in what's going on in preseason. Don't get too caught up in the talk. Because like I said earlier, man, at the end of the day, it don't matter. When week 1 steps around, with QB1 steering that ship, everybody's got their head pointed in the right direction, and we know what we're supposed to do. That's when it matters.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks a lot. Thank you, man. Thank everybody out there that hung around this long, because there's a lot of loyal followers that hung on until the end of the program, and we appreciate your support. The State of the Eagles with BG31 and myself, Dark Knight, special guest Marcus Thomas. Go check them out. Check me out too on Thursdays. Eagles Talk, 7 p.m. YouTube. Hit this like and subscribe button, and BG is always everywhere on everybody's show. Like he does about.
I didn't be on y'all show. I haven't even been on your show.
Yeah, you haven't been on our show.
You've been talking about it.
Episode 9. You haven't been on it because you're never
on
free,
show
BG.
Now, but I ain't been on your show yet
because you don't have any time. I'll put the invitation out there. You free? Oh no, I got a show to do that. He does like 11 shows. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
But we thank you guys, man. Come on, take us out, BG. We'll see y'all next week, and we'll be talking about the Eagles in training camp. So we'll have some fresh news to talk about, man. I can't wait.
I'm trying to get Chris Franklin from the beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles, Chris Franklin, on next week. And we're going to talk some training camp, the first week of training camp. Hey, are you guys going to the open practice?
I probably won't be at open practice. I'll probably make the alumni game. I'll be there. I might try to make up practice, but I'm not sure if I can. That might not be feasible in my with my time.
Yeah. I'll be out there with my Howie merch shirts. So I need all y'all to buy them. they're starting to pick up steam, so I'm going to really start promoting it really bad. At first, it's like I did something, not paid for it to get come out, and it didn't really hit like that. But lately, you guys been showing me that you love the King of Captures from Howie Roseman. Go get your King of Capture. I will be at open practice with the shirts, and we're gonna be definitely getting them out of there. So support your local podcaster, BG31, my guy. Say it's always an honor to share the screen with great Eagle fans, man. That's what I love to do. That's what I love this whole game that we play. That's content creating. So salute to all you guys. Make sure you guys go hit up Real Eagles Talk. Eagles Talk on YouTube, and then go ahead and do it Pro Fan Talk on YouTube as well, man. There's some great content creators, man, and we're gonna keep growing. Keep growing. We're gonna be the ghost one day. So fly, Eagles, fly. Till next time, BG, Dark Knight, Marcus, we out. Birds.
How is everybody doing today? Welcome to another show of State of the Eagles with your boy BG30.